I'm going to assume now that I want to put some of the actual bookshelves in. So what you would do in thinking about creating a family is you'd find like a representative view. Which view of your proposed family tells you most about the family that you're creating. Well, I'm thinking that I'm going to have a shelf down slightly off of the floor, and then I'm going to have another shelf that we'll place on top of that, and we'll give the user some options on how to control it. So I might start by thinking, like, where am I going to draft, and or where am I drafting here? So there are actually options that'll let me come in and say set or show. If I were to pick this option, it says set. I don't really need to worry too much about this, but you see that it says that it's going to draw it on the center front back plane. Or I could say pick and change where I'm drafting, but I'm just showing you that it's already set up to draw on the center front back plane, which is the one that's aligned with the view that I'm looking at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my command, because this is the way that it works, which is an extrusion for my shelf. You can see from the help what that looks like. So it means I'm going to draw a sketch, right? So I can use up here my options to draw the sketch, and I'm thinking that rectangle makes things nice and easy. So I can go and do something like that. Now I tend to draw them a bit larger than they are in real life, because it gives me more space to place dimensions and not have dimensions on top of each other. But all I'm doing is putting in the bottom shelf. And now what I want to do is I want to make the relationship between the sketch that I've just created and the geometry that I put in, which was the reference plane. So I use my favorite command, align, where what I can do is say to that plane, align that face of my sketch, and then lock it, so that if the reference plane moves, so does the edge of the shelf. Same on the other side, and lock it. And from the ground up to here, I think what I'll do is I'll give the oops, sorry, let me Control Z to get back. I think what I'll do is I want to give it a dimension up here to give the user a choice of setting how high this shelf is from the ground. So what I do is I come in like we did before, putting a dimension in here, placing it, escape, escape, click the dimension, add a parameter. I'm going to call that base height, accept. I'm going to come up to the option here, and I'm thinking I need one other parameter, which is how deep is the actual shelf. So let me put a dimension on here. I'll put it out to this side just to kind of make it clearer what we're doing. Just repeating the process that you saw. Add parameter, so I'm going to call that shelf depth. Okay, alright, I drew them, I'd mentioned I drew this a bit larger than real life, because sometimes it's just easier to start big and then apply the dimensions and make them smaller, apply the values and make them smaller. So for example, if you watch what happens here, if I go to where it says shelf depth, if I were to say 1 inch, then there's the size of my shelf. And if I said typically it's the size of the baseboard, let's assume there's a 6-inch baseboard, so I'm going to go like that, and it's going to set the height above the ground. So this is still a sketch, and it will stay a sketch until the point in time where I actually say I'm finished sketching. Right? And now it becomes three-dimensional. So this is the first point in our process where I could actually go to like a 3D view and see something. I'm going to go back to the 2D view, because when I told it that I was finished with it, I didn't actually give it a dimension. So you see on the top view here, it gave it a default dimension. Coincidentally, it was about the default is 1 foot, so it looked like it was lining up here, but it's a default. It's not actually dimensioned. So what I might want to do here is, notice I can drag this back when I'm on the line at the back of the shelves. Click to padlock, drag this forward, click to padlock. I just want to make sure, see I couldn't drag that off because this was where we had constrained the sketch, which is why you would get that message. So I'm just going to say cancel. So that's actually correct the way that it is. And let me flip back to the front view, and then I'll take it from here.